A Virginia family will get to celebrate Mother's Day this weekend. It's another happy and healthy holiday they'll not take for granted. Almost 2 years ago, their son Grayson Kirby experienced a miracle, one that left an entire team of doctors at UVa Medical Center astonished. Watching 33-year-old Grayson Kirby plant another crop of corn for the family farm seems so ordinary.
A lot of hours and hard work, but very rewarding.
He tills the land slowly, just as it's been done generations before him. It's a trade as old as time, but for this man, there is nothing ordinary about his life, and he'll never take his time on Earth for granted again. In June of 2014, Grayson's parents got a call. He was in an accident riding in a demolition derby car.
I remember getting in the car, and I remember us tearing out of there. Hey, we're gonna go fast. From there, I don't remember anymore.
A friend who was driving flipped the car, and Grayson's body was thrown out. Not breathing, he was airlifted to UVA Medical Center. Karen and Wayne Kirby recall the frantic moments heading to the hospital that early morning.
As we were headed out the door, he grabbed me at the door and he said, "I don't know what we're getting into, but it's not looking good. We need to stop and pray." So we did. We stopped at the back door and asked God to please help us face whatever we were about to face.
Their son's survival was so uncertain. As the mother and father made their way from Mechanicsville to Charlottesville, hospital staff called several more times, asking how much longer they would be.
When we walked into the ICU waiting room, 3 doctors met us, and they told us that our worst fear, it was extremely bad. His chances of survival were grim.
What the Kirbys would hear next is enough to make many parents lose hope. Grayson had a broken neck, back, clavicle, scapula, 8 or 9 broken ribs, a punctured liver, both lungs had collapsed, and his kidneys were shutting down. In a desperate attempt to save his life, the doctor had a final idea.
He said, "I would like to put him on what we call the ECMO machine. It's like a heart-lung bypass, and it's used for adults that are having transplant operations, or it's used for children, but it doesn't work in adult trauma. But it's the only thing we have left."
Karen says Grayson died twice as doctors tediously hooked his body up to the machine, only to be revived. But it played a crucial role in keeping him alive for the first 5 days. His body showed small signs of improvement, but what a brain MRI showed was a different story. A story that tested their faith unlike anything before.
They told us that if he ever woke up, it would be several months, and they couldn't tell us that there'd be anything there. And I remember looking at him and saying, "You mean he could be a vegetable after all this we've been through, and he's surviving? You mean he could be a vegetable?"
On top of a number of broken bones and damaged organs, Grayson's brain suffered strokes and hemorrhages. Doctors say he basically had shaken baby syndrome. As their son lay in a hospital bed with tubes and equipment hooked up to almost every inch of his body, these parents told the doctor, despite the bleak outlook, they would continue to believe.
As Karen said, from the beginning, we turned it over to God, and God kept showing us all along the way that I've got it, trust in me, I have it.
Believe they did, improve he did. At this point, thousands of people were following on Facebook and praying for a miracle. 10 days after the accident, Grayson opened his eyes for the first time and mouthed to his father, "I love you."
You could hear the doctors out in the hallway talking. They come every morning and do rounds, and we'd be in the room, and you could just hear them say things like, "I can't believe this."
Good job. To the complete shock of a team of doctors, after 6 weeks at UVA Medical Center, Grayson was discharged from the hospital and moved to rehab. He faced a long road to recovery, learning to walk again and how to move his arms. He never gave up hope, and they didn't quit praying. 3 months after the accident, Grayson was once again driving this farm equipment.
I'm humbled, I'm grateful, and I'm just amazed at where I was and where I am now.
A full recovery, except limited movement in his left foot, a minor issue he's learned to overcome. Grayson is alive and well, often wondering why.
I know that God saved me. I know that prayer and believing saved me.
I have reflected many, many times. And I can't remember a time from the beginning, from stopping at the door to turn it over to God. I cannot remember a time of doubting. I just believed.
They believed their son would climb out of a hospital bed into this truck again, smiling from ear to ear.
Now, Grayson's doctor recently left UVA Medical Center and sent him this note saying, "I hope that you know what an inspiration you are to so many doctors, residents, nurses, and staff at UVA. You're a local celebrity who's often mentioned when we have patients facing tremendous odds."